Father General, what do you think the society can learn from Asia?
Many things, and very deep things. I think that after being 48 years in Asia, I realized that maybe we missionaries didn't do our work well. The church can learn a lot from Asia, because the church has been colored particularly by European traditions and European language and European thinking, and less familiar with Asian, particularly East Asian realities and thinking. I think the church can learn a lot from Asia, particularly in the line of harmony. Harmony with nature, harmony among people, harmony in society, and so forth. So the old sages of Asia, like Confucius, they were very concerned about harmony in society, and they found their own response. Buddhism, which was born in South Asia, was more concerned with the harmony of the heart. How can we relate to others, to nature, to society, and so forth. In Europe, the concern maybe has been for truth. How to define truth, how to distinguish. That's why when we study philosophy, there is so much this distinction. A bishop from Japan, Bishop Hamao, who already died, he used to say that Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Asian, particularly East Asian traditions, are mostly based on the spirituality of the way. Tao is the way, and Shinto is the way of the gods, etc. Judo is the way of the weak. So the way is very central. But European missionaries were concerned with the truth. So the encounter didn't really happen. There was a distance between what the missionaries were preaching and what people were looking for. So I think a little more harmony there could be good for the church. And now that I am traveling, I see that Asia is mostly search for the way, how to be united with God, how to reach harmony, how to build justice, etc. Europe is very much concerned with philosophical questions and how to reach the truth, what is the truth of the events and stuff. While Africa and Latin America maybe are more concerned with life, which means that we need the whole world to find the fullness of Christ. And so I think the church can learn from Asia very much about the way. So how do we find this harmony in relationships? It's not so much something that you can express in words. It's, to my mind, is more like the music in the background. So we can say the same things, but the music is different. Asian music is more harmonious. European music is more concerned with truth, etc. So it's more in this line of a sense of reality than in other things, but there is a lot that we can learn.
Father General, what do you think the society can learn from Asia?
Well, to my mind, St. Ignatius, maybe without realizing it, he worked towards that synthesis, because Ignatian spirituality, because it's a spirituality of transformation and of growth, Ignatius pays a lot of attention to the method, to the way you do that. And the spiritual exercises is a method to grow in Christ. So therefore, maybe we Jesuits can learn from Asia how to give importance to what Ignatius tells us. So I think the encounter with Asia can help us to be more accurate in the understanding of St. Ignatius, and that the spiritual journey is a journey, is not a conclusion of the mind, but is a journey in which the whole body, the spirit, the heart are committed, and we have to learn a lot. No?
What is the value of studying theology in the Asian context?
Well, the value of study for me is depth. So how can we understand Asian realities in depth? That's what theology is all about. No? It's not so much about God. God remains a mystery, and He will always be a mystery. No? And that we know He's the mystery of mysteries. And St. Augustine says, if you think you understand, this is not God, no? Because God is beyond understanding. So it's a mystery, and we have to speak of God with great humility and always bowing, no? Like the Japanese say, you have to enter the tea ceremony house bowing. The door is very small, so you have to bow, and the purpose is to express humility. So we are in front of reality and beauty. We are always learning. And theology might be this narrow door, this small door in which we bow because we are in front of the great mystery of God. And then with this humility, we address people, we address society, we address any reality in which we are involved. So therefore, I consider theology important because it's a very good door to understand reality from a different perspective. I would put theology at the same level as the reflection of the sages of Asia. In Asia, you have many sages, no? Buddha, the mystics of the Upanishad in India, Confucius, Mencius, Lao Tzu, etc. You have a long tradition. These are very important people for Asia. They are the builders of an Asian mentality, and therefore, it's in theology is a door to this kind of wisdom that we all need. And I hope that the Church and the society in concrete takes to heart, but going beyond definitions to the mystery behind the definitions.
Here in Asia Pacific, Christianity, except in Timor Leste and the Philippines, is the minority, while Buddhism and Islam are the majority. How will a better understanding of Buddhism or Islam help a Jesuit in serving the universal mission?
It's in the same line. So they show us other ways of going to the depth of the person. We cannot say to the depth of God, but we can say it. No, with God is always yes and no. Yes to anything positive, no to any limitation. No? Because we limit, we human beings, the moment we define, we limit. No? And so I would say in Asia, we have a new chance to learn from these traditional religions, that they can help us in the search, not so much in the conclusions as in the search. But in the search itself, there is so much wisdom and so much depth that one can say that we need this kind of help. No? Unfortunately, the Christianity that we are familiar with is very much influenced by European thought and European openness to truth, but at the same time narrowness because it's human. I mean, European traditions are not necessarily all revelation. They are part of the human quest. And that's why we have so much to learn from Asia. I remember when I lived in a popular neighborhood in Tokyo, I was very inspired every day by a neighbor that I never met, so I don't know who he is, but he was working in the neighborhood. And every day he prayed 1 hour, which is the time we usually have for our Jesuit prayer. And he prayed sitting in a cushion with one of these wooden bells that Buddhists use for prayer. And he would hit the bell, the wooden bell, rhythmically, and with that he created silence around himself. It was a busy neighborhood because people worked there. But he would just be hitting the knock, boom, 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 and that creates silence around him. So he needed only 1 square meter to create silence and to pray. And we heard him praying every morning, half an hour, and every evening, half an hour. So 1 hour a day he prayed in a busy neighborhood, very narrow, because Japanese houses are very narrow. And he was able to do that, while sometimes we think that we need silence and we need a garden and we need a chapel and we create so many needs around that we become unable to create silence around us. And this gentleman was creating that. That inspired me very much, and that indicates that there are elements in other religions that very clear can help us in the search, in the creativity of finding ways of going to God and to pray, to relate to God, etc. And the same thing in other ways, no? So not only in how to create silence for prayer, but how to relate to other people, how to forget about oneself, which is one of the key elements of any spirituality. No? So I think I am very positive to the fact that if we open ourselves to others and to society, there are many things that we can learn from it. Well, in this line, I would say we can always learn from people. No? And therefore, the book of wisdom is always open, and we can learn from all our neighbors. It's very interesting to see that St. Paul considers all the Christians, he calls them saints. We could say we have many saints around us, people from whom we can learn how to be patient, how to fight, how to live in a community where not everybody is easy, and every community has the grandfather, the grandmother, sometimes the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, and they live harmoniously well, and they put humor into the relationships and a humanism that is very deep, that sometimes we are not familiar with because we don't live in a family. We create our own communities, and sometimes we become very impatient or short-tempered because we cannot endure others. No? Well, the ordinary saints that surround us, they are doing that much better than we do, and we can always learn from them. So I would say, keep open to the reality around, be musical, listen to the music of the relationships of others, and that will enrich us very much.